All right, we're back against our better judgment. Let's talk Broncos. Bree Maestas, Zach Seegers, Joey Richards. Guys, fresh off of a Broncos Country Tonight appearance into a Kansas City beatdown. How y'all feeling?
I think I'm the only one here that isn't looking to drive their car into a wall. I mean, I don't know. I think we need some hotline numbers up. I'm worried for my co-hosts here.
Listen, I'm doing fine, but the Broncos, man, like what the hell am I supposed to do? What are we supposed to do over here? I feel bad for the fans, but I especially feel I feel especially bad for the fans. I feel bad for everybody involved in this fiasco. Although it's probably better that they do lose. I just don't like that they're going out there in the fashion that they're losing. It's like yesterday. Let's just save it for the rest of the podcast. Just know I'm miserable right now, everybody.
It's tough.
It's tough to be a Broncos fan. It's tough to cover the team. I'm not rewatching that. I don't care. I'm not digesting film. I'm not going in and rewatching to see, what happened, what went good, what went bad. We're just going to kind of let our feelings fly. And if you'd like to join us in some therapy, Samuel Castro says, whoa, I don't know what to, but probably to the ride we're on right now. Let's get it started. We're live over on YouTube. Log in, send us some chats. Come have a conversation with us. This is the best part of our Monday/now Fridays after the Thursday night football. Zach had an interesting theory going into Thursday's game where he suggested, he didn't predict it, he just suggested that perhaps because it was Thursday night football and because the Broncos defense was making offenses look like Patrick Mahomes, that maybe there was a limit to what Patrick Mahomes could do. Now, guys, my good's going to be that the Denver Broncos were able to keep the Kansas City Chiefs to a very low-scoring affair. The way the game started, I thought there was going to be 50-0 at a certain point, but it wasn't. I think the defense stepped up. I think they started playing a little bit better. Do I think it was up to par? No. Do I think that it has fixed itself? Is the ship righted? Not at all. But I do think that there were some flashes of good. Justin Simmons being back out on the field was absolutely important for this defense, but it's a little, he did look good. It's a little too little too late, which is frustrating, but I do want to talk about the positives that I saw. And I want to throw it out there that I think there's still a fighting spirit, but I would expect nothing less from Justin Simmons. And maybe that's his last ditch effort of showing everybody in the state of Colorado how much he's really given to this team over the years, not only to the sport of football, but to the community. So I just wanted to highlight that there was a lot of effort. There was a lot of, I'm not going to say optimistic outlook, but it was a good fought defensive battle. How do you guys feel about how the defense performed yesterday?
You can't complain. From what happened the rest of the season, I was expecting this game to be absolutely atrocious for the defense, and they went out there and played better than I expected. It's just hard to complain after that because they set an expectation of terrible, and they were mid. So I would say that you can't complain. They did what they were supposed to do. They did better than what was anticipated. So shout out to some of those guys all around. Like you said, Bree, I thought Justin Simmons was tremendous help for that team. He played really good. There was a play, I forget, it was a run out to the right, and he is so good, man. The way he closed from a deep safety spot to tackle the running back behind the line of scrimmage or at the line of scrimmage was unbelievable. And that's the kind of stuff the Broncos need. Even if you're a fan of, hey, we should be trying to sell players off right now, we should be trying to sell. Justin Simmons did not look the same in the games prior to this game. This game in particular was his best game of the season. He looked like the Justin Simmons I've seen his whole career. I would say Justin Simmons was a huge help.
I got to comment on that, though, because of the injury that he sustained during training camp as well. It's been kind of a slow reapproach and then getting re-injured. It's amazing that he was actually out there able to play and up to the level that you expect from Justin Simmons. So I think that's absolutely positive. How about you, Zach?
Yeah, I think, I don't know. Let's not smother Justin Simmons. Let's let him thrive. That would be my take. Like, this guy is because he entered the league in 2016 and just how careers work, he's kind of a tweener, and it might be tough for him to make an NFL all-decade team. But if he was drafted in 2021 or 2011 and the career lined up a little better, absolutely the type of guy that's in the running to make an NFL all-decade team. The three safeties of the last 10 years are what? Him, Minkah Fitzpatrick, and I don't know. I think I'm forgetting an obvious one. Derwin James, thank you, have kind of been a top league, and Derwin James hasn't stayed healthy much. So it really feel like for a lot of it, it's been Justin Simmons and Minkah Fitzpatrick. And I think most national media would put Fitzpatrick 1 and Simmons 2, but still just an absolutely tremendous player. Has never been to the playoffs, has never even really sniffed the playoffs, especially as a starter. Like, I hope he kind of gets shipped this trade deadline, not because it's like, oh, get this guy out of here, but I would love for Justin Simmons to play in an NFL playoff game. I think that would be cool. I think he deserves that. I think he deserves to chase a Super Bowl. Like the Ravens could use some secondary help right now, and PS2 has been tied there. I kind of want to keep PS2. Send Justin Simmons there instead. I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at with it. I agree with you guys. I think the defense did play a good bit better. I think it was a little inflated by the Chiefs kind of playing with their food a little and failing to convert in the red zone. They allowed a 60% success rate on passes, which is insane. That'd be the best in the league by far. So the Chiefs were able to kind of move the ball at will up until they got down to the red zone. It is an improvement. Like, there's no denying that. I think we should temper our expectations. Like, I think that 19-point number is really kind of dishonest.
Totally. But at the same time, like the only reason it's like temper your expectations. I don't think it is temper your expectations, Zach. I'll be honest, because that was completely an outlier. Like I don't think anyone's expecting the Broncos to hold teams to 19 points even in the future. Like I see people praising the Broncos defense, and that was a good performance against the Chiefs, but I don't see anybody saying that the Broncos defense is good now. I still think it's really bad. And like you said, yeah, I mean, if Andy Reid wasn't running double reverse wide receiver passes for the first 3 quarters of the game, it probably would have been a lot different. It felt like the Broncos defense was getting played with a little out there, but there were a few players. And can I transition into my good real quick? Is that cool with you guys? Okay. My good was Nick Bonito, just transferring straight from the defense. Nick Bonito, I said it going into the season, if you liked him going into the draft, there was no reason not to like him, and he's proving that this season right now. He looks like he's going to be a really good designated pass rusher. I really do think that. He's beating people clean and fast when he's getting after the quarterback, but even when he's blocked up pretty good, one thing that's blatant to me is his closing speed. Those even hustle pressures are felt a little more just because of how as athletic as he is. Is he a starter in the NFL? Like, is he a guy that I want to play on first downs? Probably not. But guess what, guys? It's the NFL. It's a passing league, and pass rushers are at a premium. So I think it was a great development to see Nick Bonito this season look like he has. He looked great yesterday, and I don't see that stopping.
Joey, I have to interrupt you. I'm so sorry. It's going to be very unprofessional of me, but Dante McCluskey is celebrating a birthday today, so he can't actually be on the live show. But what he actually did is he came on the live show and decided to let us know. So I think we need to wish him a very happy birthday. And he donated $10, which on your birthday seems a little ass backwards, Dante. We appreciate you. Thank you for popping in and showing your support. If you have a Twitter, can you tweet at us so that we know that you exist on some social media? Because I can't find you. Anyways, happy birthday. Happy Friday the 13th birthday. That's even more cool. And go Broncos. I get it. Even though we stink, it's Drake May time, baby. Paul wants us to sing to him. That's not happening, but I appreciate the sentiment.
No.
Happy birthday.
All right, that's all. Happy birthday, Dante.
Birthday to you.
Happy birthday. Yeah, let us know your Twitter handle. I'll send you a message on something.
Or IG or whatever. Just follow us on a social so we can find you. We really appreciate your support.
Hey.
Always giving us a shout.
Sorry, we don't have, but we do have music. We could be like, you know, we could hit them with the.
You smell what the Rock is cooking.
What's the best we can do? That's a little special for his birthday. We can go.
That's literally the the only thing we can do. Dante, we appreciate you. Live it up. Have a great day, great evening. And really, thanks for joining us on your birthday. D Bronx says, "Happy birthday, Dante. I'll DM you my Venmo. Please don't send D Bronx any money. It's a scam." Yeah, we love you too. Thank you so much for your support. Thanks for dropping by. And let us know how you celebrated when we see you on Monday. All love. We got some more shouts out. Hello, Albany Adriel. Love LTB Crew.
Love.
Well, hello. We love you too.
Thank you, Albany. Adriel from Albany.
So how about Nick Bonito, Zach?
Yeah, I think he's pretty good. I'm happily wrong on Nick Bonito in the sense I was probably a little too pessimistic on him, and so far he's playing really well. I'm trying to see how he performs specifically in the Chiefs game, but I don't know. We saw him get some good pressures on Patrick Mahomes. He was so close so many times. Mahomes is just a extremely difficult quarterback to sack. I thought Cooper showed us some nice things too. These are I don't know. I think they're really good pass rushers, or not really. I think Benito's a really good pass rusher. Cooper's a really nice rotational piece to have.
Well-rounded.
And well-rounded. Like, these are good players you want on your defense. I think the problem right now is it's the Broncos need Nick Bonito to be like Randy Johnson, because the coverage isn't holding up on the back end. He's getting no help on the front end. Like, he doesn't have to just be an ace. He has to be like the ace. And that's not where he's at in his career right now.
Even that interception Justin Simmons caught, credit Nick Bonito for that, man. When you're at quarterback, he had a hold of his foot, and Patrick Mahomes wasn't able to step up and throw a very great ball at all. Like I said earlier, shout out to Justin Simmons as well. But those are the type of things. It sucks that these pass rushers don't get anything on the stat sheet for that, right? He caused a whole turnover, yet nothing will be recorded.
I mean, doesn't that count as a pressure, though?
Yeah, it's a pressure, but it's so much more impactful than just a regular pressure. Like, he caused a whole turnover. I don't know. I remember Chris Sims back in the day used to say that there needs to be a stat that says a fuck the play up stat. and I agree. Like, that's exactly what that was.
He had 2 hits on Patrick Mahomes. That's his most QB hits on the season, not including sacks. But so what? I guess Justin Fields, he hit 3 times in a game. And then Zach Wilson and Patrick Mahomes, he hit twice. Sam Howell, he hit twice in a game. So he's really been on a bit of a heater over the past, really since week 2.
I'm appreciating you stepping up and, just retroactively taking back your severe criticism of Nick Bonito from last season, because, man, it was loud. It was feisty. It was bitey even. Now we're back. We're watching him have a really great step up in his game for 2023. So appreciate you, Zach Seegers. Shouts out to you. Zach.
Yeah.
Are you going to reply? You're just going to take
No, he's not.
No, I think it's nice.
I don't want feedback. I want you to go into your good. I just want you to go into your good.
Bree wants to get out of here. My good. Oh, what a question. I can't believe we haven't said Cortland Sutton yet. I didn't get to talk about him too much on our last night's show. People, please go check that out. JP Acosta joined us and was awesome. I did not give many takes because I just wanted to hear him talk about the game. I think it was valuable to get that national perspective. But I'm hyped about Cortland Sutton. I don't know. He was so had a really rough start to this season. Like, I think some of it isn't necessarily his fault, but the fumbles and some drops, and even had a drop early on in this Chiefs game. And then to just see him make some ridiculous grabs and that grab in the end zone, it's just, I don't know. It made me feel warm and fuzzy inside. And this season's going to suck. It's really going to suck. Like, the positives in this Broncos season are going to be like the Jaleel McLaughlin moments and the Marvin Mims moments. And, because it points to a brighter future. But then also like this Cortland Sutton moment where I think he's not long for the Broncos. It didn't ultimately work out with him, but it's nice to get a little glimpse back in time to like 2019 and how exciting that was with Sutton. So I don't know. He's my up. It was nice.
Not a lot of talk about effort from Cortland Sutton from a lot of the folks around Broncos country, which I was happy to see. There's a lot of effort to bring that catch in. Also thought it was really weird that the refs didn't immediately call it a catch. Thought that was concerning. But yeah, I think it's appropriate at this point in time to give flowers to Cortland Sutton for what he's done. I know that there are trade rumors and whatnot swirling as we approach the deadline at the end of this month. I don't know where I would anticipate seeing him go. I would assume the Broncos would retain him. I think the other in Jerry Jeudy is probably the first one to go, and I'm going to throw that out a little bit later. But I was happy to see what he was able to do. He always tends to bounce back. You never really catch him down for long. And I'm always impressed by Cortland Sutton. I think the adversity that he's faced in his career is one that's easy to root for. So I agree, Zach. I'm glad that you chose him. I'm actually kind of surprised.
Thank you. 10 out of 10 human. Really great guy. I'll say that too. My mom, actually, I can't believe this wasn't my lead-in for this. My mom was blowing up my phone last night. Like, Zach, you better not say one more mean thing about Cortland Sutton ever on the show. So I can't. It's all positive. Cortland
Zach,
Sutton.
DM me. We'll figure something out.
Yeah, I'll get Joey to be my angel.
I'm gonna have to ban my cousin from the YouTube chat. Luke Maestis says, "Can we talk about Taylor Swift?" No, they're all yes because I just said it. But Luke, you're not my favorite cousin anymore. Thank you. Okay.
I believe it's more real now. That's my only take. That's all I got. I was totally pessimistic on it.
The only thing I have to add to that conversation is
they're pretty committed to the bit if it's a bit.
Yeah, like at least like it's like I don't know. No, it's not fun. I don't like it. Anyways, let's move on. The Broncos cover Travis Kelce. If we're gonna lose, go cover Travis Kelce. Double him, triple him, do something. If the Broncos are losing, we can't have this be fun for everybody. That's my take. I'm
with you. And man, they had no answer for him whatsoever. It was terrible. I need to find the matchup date on that, but it felt like every play Mahomes was dropping back and targeting him at the end of the first half, or I think it was closing out the first half. Kelce had like 8 catches. And then Pacheco was second on the team with like 2 catches for 10 yards, just as like a dump off option. He was their entire passing game. And I go back to what I was just saying earlier about Kansas City having a 63% success rate on dropbacks. That was all Travis Kelce. That was a painful aspect of that game.
I don't know how he's always open. I just don't get it. I'll never understand it. A lot of holding, but I still don't understand how it's every single time. I don't know. He can't keep getting away with this.
Like, how do you not know it's going there? He was on targets. This is insane. Travis Kelce was Mahomes' most targeted receiver by a lot. They targeted him 9 times in this game. I think next closest is like Kadarius Toney with 5. So some other people might have 5.
That's a wild stat in itself.
Yeah. Pacheco actually had 6, but for 36 yards. So again, he's just like a check down option. That's why he is
Kadarius Toney running wild over the Broncos.
Travis Kelce, on targets to Travis Kelce, Mahomes was 9 of 9 for 124 yards and 5 first downs.
That's he had painful. 90 yards in like the first, I don't know, quarter and a half. I can't do it. I hate it. And then I hate people have the audacity to say that he is like Gronk in any way, other than he has a bobbly head. All right.
I also
he's longevity
with the take that he's better than Gronk. I want to throw that out there. I don't think so. And that's like a very common take I'm seeing nowadays. Kelce literally could be the second best tight end in football, and I'm happy to say that. Ever. I would be happy to say that.
He's got longevity.
Gronk his prime was something I've never seen from a tight end before. But anyways.
And it's not even I want to tag team this take because I fully agree with it. It's not like LeBron and Michael Jordan where it's like, oh, they didn't play at the same time. We're kind of like holding up these 2 different eras against each other and trying to see which is better. No, their careers overlapped. They entered the league at pretty much the same time. And who was getting the first team All Pros? Gronk was. And then Gronk's career kind of ended because he had a lot more injuries than Travis Kelce did. And Travis Kelce beats him in the longevity game. His tally numbers will end up being better. Totally. Gronk's a better football player. He's a better blocker. Like, he's a game-changing blocker. And I think he's a more threatening receiver.
Yards after catch. After catch. Don't even get me started about Gronk's yards after catch. That was the most crazy thing I've seen from a tight end, guys. Tight ends.
Kelce,
Who's watched Trotman?
never mind. Yeah. Kelce devours the Broncos, and he's never worried me as much as Gronk did back in like those 2013, 2014 runs.
I'm going to throw out my bad now. Maybe it's a bad mixed with ugly. It's not even a slow downgrade, I think, in the roster and the morale and the energy surrounding this team swiftly has fallen off a cliff. We saw the leaching, rotting, decaying part of it kind of sneak in when you saw a lot of the players giving their post pressers. We're only into week 6, and you're just seeing some things that don't bode well for future careers and contracts. And I'm not going to throw anyone specifically in that bucket because I think you can pinpoint anybody at that time. But we saw it happen last year with Melvin Gordon. And this season is a frustrating look of what happens when a team that was really hoping for a change is not being met with what was promised. Now 2 years into a rebuild of we're going to get you a quarterback. Now we're going to get you a coach. And it's just you really saw it kind of come to a head this week. And it's unfortunate because it hurts trade value. It's unfortunate because it hurts the overall narrative of what people have already made up in their minds about certain individuals. It is a sad reminder that there's probably not a turnaround point here for the Denver Broncos. It's not going to necessarily get better or get best. You're not looking for this like point in which things turn around. You're really looking and staring at kind of a hole. And I think that's the only way to explain away why the arguments are happening. It happened later in the season last year, and it's happening much quicker now. And you'll see the same conversation going on whether or not Sean Payton is to blame or Russell Wilson is to blame. Everyone now is coming to the point where they need somebody to harp at, and it's a lot of things all at once. But I think that there's a lot of really great points coming in about Sean Payton not making some really great calls, kind of boneheaded calls that you wouldn't expect from a veteran coach. Russell Wilson may not be the problem, but he's still a problem. The O-line gotten better, still not great. So I think there's just a frustration that is not going to get solved by one move. It's not going to get solved by drafting a quarterback. It's not going to get solved by signing another offensive lineman. It's not going to get solved by trading away wide receivers. It's going to take a little bit of time to kind of work this through, and a lot of patience is going to be necessitated. In the meantime, if you want to, you can start voting on what team Let's Talk Broncos is going to cover moving forward. Because I can't guarantee it's going to be the Broncos. So if you want to super chat us, highest bid wins. And Joey, what do you have to say?
No, yeah. I mean, overall, I agree with you. It's definitely not one person's fault. That's one thing I want to put in there, and that's kind of what you said. It's the Broncos. You don't get this bad to where I'm sitting there looking at the team, Bree, and I'm like, hey, the Broncos have a chance at the first pick in the draft. Guess what? The first pick of the draft goes to the worst team. They suck. It's not one person's fault, because if it was one person's fault, you could probably put some things together to make it look a little better than it was. And the Broncos are just completely not able to do that. Everything goes wrong, no matter what the situation is. Yesterday, the defense steps up just a little bit. We could argue that the Chiefs were playing around with them, and I do agree that it did seem like they were playing around with them. But, hey, guess what? They still only scored that many points. The Broncos offense came out and laid an egg. If it's not one thing, it's the other. It's 1,000 different people's fault. So, yeah, Zach, do you have anything to add on there, or this kind of goes into mine a little bit too?
No, I definitely have stuff I wanted to add. I think – I don't know. It's terrible. And it is going to take wholesale changes. And I don't want to step on what you're going to say too much. Actually, yeah, you should go first, and I should jump off of what you're going to say, because it ties in. I will say my bad really quick, because it does tie into Breeze. Sean Payton. I don't know. I think it's a problem. I do think like, I don't know, if you've got a really shitty concoction, like a really gross drink, if you've ever gone to like a college frat party and they're playing one of those drinking games where like you've got the cup that's the suicide cup, it's mixed up of all the gross nastiness, whatever, you don't want to get it. Like, I think that's what this Broncos roster was. And then I don't care what you add to that concoction, it's probably still going to taste terrible. So keep that in mind with like Sean Payton. I don't think it's, I'm worried about it. He hasn't been delivering on what he needs to. I think there's plenty to hold him accountable for. Vance Joseph hiring being the most obvious one. Poor in-game decisions, questionable play calling, all of it's fair. I just think you have a guy that's demonstrated, and even after Drew Brees demonstrated he was like a really good head coach. Look at what he did with Teddy Bridgewater and Jameis Winston and the like, and Taysom Hill. I think he's created definitively he's created winning teams without Drew Brees. And then he comes to Denver and all of a sudden he looks like he can't coach anymore. Like, I don't think the city's cursed or anything. I think, to Brees' point, this thing is infected. I think there's serious problems throughout the roster. I don't know. For once, I'm thinking like the problem's the players. Like, I don't know what coach is coming in here and getting anything to work, because who is buying into anything that the coaches are saying? I mean, I think you've got a very uncoachable roster is what my opinion currently is. But Joey, I know that kind of leads into what you're going to go on.
Yeah, my bad is Sua Craven's tweet today, and it's not Sua Craven's himself, but it's what he was reporting on. And it says, I'll read it to you. It says, I can say it's 100% fact. That's Sean Payton, already began losing his team months before the season even started. Multiple, all caps, players have expressed to me distaste for how Sean Payton operates the team, and even called him a Vic 2.0 in the locker room. Let me tell you why this irritates me. The Broncos have gone, if you're going to Vic, that's a Hackett ago. Vic was hired a while ago, guys. Vic was here for 3 years. The Broncos have gone through 3 head coaches, yet all the players hate the coaches. What does that tell you?
Very different styles too. And then you could even go back
styles.
to VJ and when the locker room rebelled under him, and he's a different style from all 3 of those guys too. So it's like you've got this wide array of coaching styles and coaches, and the players aren't responding to any of them and are revolting against all of them.
Yeah, no, exactly. It does feel like that. It just feels like tough coaching is an issue. It feels like a roster kind of that needs to take some accountability to me. That's what it feels like. Even from a business aspect, and I was texting this in the group chat today, like a real life aspect. A lot of this stuff you can relate to real life. Not all the time is what makes the employees the most comfortable in the world, best for business. Like, you're trying to make it pair where it's very comfortable, and then also, you're trying to make it copacetic. But like, these guys at the end of the day have only lost. Like, let's keep it real. And they haven't liked a single coach. That's the main thing I want to point out. Not one. We've had 3 different guys come in here, and what happens every single time? Through the media, through player relationships, things come out about how they don't like the coach. And
maybe it is a string of bad luck with the coaches. Maybe it is not the coaching style that needs to lead this Denver Broncos team. But guess what? It's not going to be this Denver Broncos team for much longer. Frankie's Film said, I'm not saying he's a bad coach now, but there needs to be improvement by season's end. You can't just give him a pass if it's week 17 and he's still having all these issues. I want to comment on what Zach said and then agree as well, because I think that there's boneheaded moves, and then there's the repeated effort through all of the weeks to not make a whole lot of adaptions here. And I get that mistakes happen. I get clock management, time management. You think you're on a different down than you are. But if that is not the derailment of what's happening, and maybe some players are talking to Sua, and maybe they are not happy with the way Sean Payton is. You're always going to have players who like a coach for certain things or dislike a coach for certain things. But I can tell you right now that if you have not been able to assemble synergy within your roster, that's on you. That is on the coaches. And so if this coaching staff didn't figure it out, it was a mask by Sean Payton. It's on him to figure that out.
But I don't know. We saw Sean Payton go into New Orleans post Hurricane Katrina. Like, look at the New Orleans Saints from, I don't know when they started, 1970 to 2005. I mean, the most dysfunctional NFL organization over that span by a good margin.
And
Then
it can work there.
then they're dealing with Hurricane Katrina, and he comes in and he's able to uplift things. I think one, because he had a fairly decent purge at the onset of talent. And I think that's what he's doing right now. The Bill Parcells, Bill Belichick, Sean Payton way is to make things uncomfortable and weed out the weak. And I mean, Robbie kind of referenced that in our group chat today. I think there's some of that going on. I also, just for me, it's like, okay, so we had all these reports when Vic Fangio was the head coach about how he's too harsh and we don't like it and we can govern ourselves and we don't need all this hard coaching, whatever. So then they throttle it way back. And this is the most penalized, the most poorly coached, the least organized team in the league. So when we saw a staff where the accountability was on the players, when it was, you didn't have an authoritarian leader, you had someone that gave you a little freedom, the players completely abused that freedom. Like I think Sean Payton is 1,000% a part of this. He has not been worth a first round pick. He's not worth $20 million. I think Frankie's right. He looks a lot closer to average right now than special.
Yeah.
That said, what is he like? Why do we think these players are coachable? Why? None of them have been, I mean, for the most part, have been on a team that was well coached, headed in a good direction with a winning culture. Like, I don't know. I think a lot of the problem is the players.
The DBs were well coached by Christian Parker. Marcus Dixon was having a success there. So I don't think that this roster is uncoachable.
I mean, the only thing that guys on the roster, though.
Can I? The only thing that irritates me about this quote, and then we can sign out here, is that the Vic 2.0 is not the burn you think it is, because you're talking about an offensive guy that is one of the most respected in the NFL, and you're talking about a defensive guy that's one of the most accomplished in the NFL, has changed the way defense is played. Let's just keep it a buck. And then also on top of that, it's just like here, and then you reel it back. Okay, let's look at it in a bigger picture. Why the hell are all these coaches working elsewhere but not here? Why are Jets fans okay with Hackett right now? Why are Dolphins fans okay with Fangio right now?
Or players.
New Orleans like Sean Payton.
Or players. New Orleans Saints players fucking love Sean Payton. They love themselves some Sean Payton. Adore him, right? Vic Fangio, look at the Bears. They really like Vic Fangio. Look at the Dolphins players' comments this offseason. They like Vic Fangio. Look at the Eagles' comments last offseason when Vic was hanging around there. They like Vic Fangio. Look at the Packers' comments when Hackett was over there. And also just how well coached that offensive unit was. I know LaFleur's it gets a lot of the credit there, and deservedly so, but I don't know. When you see these
those teams winning, are those quarterbacks different?
Yes, but those coaches went elsewhere. All these coaches have gone elsewhere, been liked by players, had success with players. Like, at a point, the common factor here is the players. And that's why, and I'm not trying to remove blame from Sean Payton. He deserves blame. I'm just saying a lot of this is on the players too.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. I mean, I at the end of the day, I think Sean Payton deserves credit or deserves blame. It's just how much, I guess, is where everyone disagrees. Yeah, that's all. That's all I got for that one.
I think you're just trying to weightily put it too much on one end. I think, again, it's a blend of everything. But I think if you bring in a different quarterback, you bring in some different roster pieces. But how much carryover is there from the last 3 years? So I think that it's a little hold on. It's just a little bit too nearsighted to say that this roster is somehow, I mean, there's fault for effort. There's fault for bringing back veterans who aren't necessarily pulling their weight around, but I don't blame them because they can't win a game because their quarterback can't get the offense rallied because he can't get the offensive line to look any better than it should be because on paper it looks pretty decent. Like, I'm not saying that there's an answer. I'm not saying that Sean Payton needs to be gone by the end of the season. I think there's a lot of people in the chat who think this is an experimental year, but there's something that rubs me very wrong about what I've seen so far, how it's been handled, and how egregious those errors and the lack of accountability has been that Dal said, my broken emotional state wants to believe the latter. And I think I'm there also, but there's a part of me that feels like this is very much so purposely so that a very clean slate can be brought to everyone's attention next season, which maybe that's how the business of the NFL works. Jair is saying there's still 11 games. I'm sorry. We are not going to.
Hey, I appreciate the happiness here.
By November 13th, I still don't see a win. The Bills are probably going to obliterate the Broncos. Zach, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's hard to separate the players from some of this. Like, what's Payton's biggest gaffe so far? I think everyone would say hiring hiring Vance Joseph. Okay, why did he have to hire Vance Joseph? Because in the offseason, the players held a revolt. The vocal defensive leaders on this team held a revolt, demanding it not be Vic Fangio and demanding it being Vance Joseph. I
haven't ever heard that.
I think that's a problem.
That's kind of insane if that's true. I've never heard that.
Yeah, they pushed back heavily on the Vic Fangio reports.
Huh, interesting.
Well,
I don't know. I think that's a problem. I think it goes back to even the McManus thing. I think there's a lot of Brandon McManuses on this team, and I don't think it's healthy.
I love you both. I'm going to move on from this.
On. Yes, please.
Yes.
Do you have any other uglies from yesterday?
Ooh, I got an ugly. I like ugly being like a grab bag of things that are kind of side of the game. Ugly. Steve Smith embarrassing himself on national TV. Steve, what are you doing, man? I don't know. We talk shit about plenty of players on here. Like, if Andrew Beck was like, I really don't like Zach Seegers, fair. And then if I were to go up to him and try to apologize, I think that's fair enough. But he was like, Zach, get out of my face. Go fuck yourself. He would be totally in his right to do that. And I would just kind of have to tuck my tail and walk away and go, ooh, that was an embarrassing moment. I probably should have conducted myself better so the relationship didn't get that bad. I definitely wouldn't go on national TV and go like, let me tell you about how immature Andrew Beck is. Because I don't know. I think that's a joke. And it's not even a defense of Jerry Jeudy. I think you can criticize him for being immature, for doing certain things. Like, I'm not even trying to have a Jeudy debate. I think people can criticize Jeudy for a million reasons. He hasn't been good enough this year. The tweets are like, I don't think they're really problematic, but it's just like, dude, what are you doing? It's not about that for me. Just as someone who's been credentialed in an NFL locker room, I cannot believe Steve Smith conducted himself that way. I think it is horribly unprofessional and very embarrassing.
Listen, if you're going to be prepared to talk about a player, an athlete, somebody's position that you don't quite understand at the moment, be prepared for flack. That's all I'm really going to say about the situation without turning it into a Jeudy debate, because I just don't have it in me tonight. But Zach, yeah, I think it was foolish. Joey.
Yeah, my only take is I think both were wrong in different ways. I think like the dancing behind Steve Smith after that was probably not appropriate, but yeah, both were wrong, because like just as an NFL reporter, you don't do that. Like, that's just not, or as an NFL guy, you just don't do that. You made yourself look like an idiot on TV.
Any reporter.
Exactly. Like, you just don't do that. But you don't also just completely shy away like Jeudy afterwards. You're still a pro. You probably shouldn't be doing that in front of the TV camera on national television. Like, I would have been absolutely okay, and Steve Smith would have looked like an idiot for real if Jeudy was like, no, I don't want to shake this dude's hand. Like, fuck him. And left it at that. He would be completely allowed to do that. He criticized me. I don't have to get along with him. That's fine. Make your criticism, make your apology as loud as the criticism was. Go on your platform and apologize to me if you mean it. I understand that point. It's just, don't go on TV dancing behind him after, because now you're putting yourself in the spotlight where you look like an idiot too. Like, both of them just kind of look stupid right now. So yeah.
It's fodder. It's amazing that this NFL season and the Denver Broncos continue week after week to find additional ways to blow up on the national scale and for non-football reasons. And it's getting to the point where I'm like, is this really happening? Like, forget the record, forget the injuries, forget anything football related. And it's like, this is the point that we've gotten to. But I think that's what you do. Really bad teams get made fun of. And now this is year 2 of being like remarkably ugly. And this is what you're going to see moving forward. Even the smallest of transgressions from players, from analysts, are going to get blown up. And that is the world we're living in right now. You're going to hear louder sides of the spectrum. You're going to hear the really negative and the really positive. But right now, all of Broncos country is looking at each other like, what the fuck are we witnessing? And that's where we're at right now. That's why we come on. We kind of stare at each other. And we almost consider like, how do we approach this? So we appreciate you, Let's Talk Broncos community, for riding the storm with us, because we're just as lost as you are. We can break down what happened. We can break down our ideas of the best way to go forward, but we kind of enjoy coming on here and just sort of walking through it.
Yeah, it's dark times. I would love to, just for YouTube algorithm purposes, ask you guys a quick question about the Broncos, because I meant to circle back and ask JP Acosta this last night, and we went off on a different tangent and never got back to it. I think there's 5 teams that really stand out as like the worst in the NFL. And I don't know if the Broncos are the worst, but I'm curious if you guys think they are. I think you look at the Patriots right now, how bad that offense is, how underwhelming that defense is. You look at the Panthers, how I think they're bottom 5 on both sides of the ball right now. Look at the Bears, of course, and how they're struggling. And then the Giants and how that's kind of totally gone up in flames. And then, of course, our Denver Broncos. I think those are the 5. You got a lot of one-losses teams, and the one winless team, I think, is the Panthers. Who is the worst one to you, I guess, and how far off do you think the Broncos are from that mark?
I think the Broncos, out of that team of 5, or that group of 5, are right smack dab in the middle. I don't think the Bears are as bad, and I don't think the Giants necessarily are either, but I think the Patriots and the Panthers are battling it out for the worst of the worst. And that's kind of how I would group them together. But on a week-to-week basis, I think that could fluctuate some. I think the Broncos kind of show promise in certain areas, but it's been against pretty poor teams. So I think that that's actually kind of weighting it a little bit different. But I would say the Patriots are just abysmal at this point. I mean, there's talks about Belichick being fired, which is insane to me. The idea that one of the most winningest coaches, who installed an entire system that made a quarterback out of not nothing, but then ultimately created this career and legacy and dynasty. And we're actually going to talk about Bill Belichick being bad enough to get fired is crazy to me. Do I think it'll actually happen? No, but Mac Jones is ass. But I think it's a rotating 5. The Broncos are in the middle, but that could be orange colored glasses. Joey.
I think that was funny. I think that, I mean, if I'm looking at it from that perspective, I do think that's probably it. I think they're probably the 3rd worst team in the league. The issue here I have is that the Broncos have a tough schedule. So I think that they're going to end up finishing in the top 2. I really do believe that. And here's the thing. I don't think that these teams are more talented. I have a hard time, except for the Giants, maybe. I think the Broncos are more talented than a lot of these teams. The issue is the Broncos are underperforming. Jerry Jeudy's underperforming. Cortland Sutton has underperformed. I'm just not going to go down the whole list of people. But if I were to go down from expectation, players are underperforming. So that would be that's kind of my take there.
What's up, Jordan? Yeah, I think the Panthers are the only team I feel is worst right now, and I think they're got enough maybe on defense that they could figure some stuff out. Bryce Young is showing some flashes, though I don't know. I don't know if that's going to work out for him. That's the team, I think. That would worry me if I was the Broncos. I think the Bears are showing a little something these last 2 weeks. In terms of EPA per dropback, Justin Fields just had his 2nd and 3rd best games of his career. So that's really optimistic. And again, that went against the Broncos. He didn't have a throwing shoulder for the last quarter of the game. So I don't know. The Patriots also worry me, but I just have enough faith in Bill Belichick that I feel like they've got to luck their way into some wins.
No, I'm not worried about any of those teams, although up against the Broncos. I don't think the Broncos are beating I think the Broncos maybe beat the Patriots. We'll talk a little bit next week about how we see the rest of this schedule working itself out. Monday's show will be a mailbag edition. So if you have questions for us, you can tweet at us. You can send them in the Discord. If you're wondering what a Discord is, hit us up over on Twitter or any of our socials so we can get you the link and you can talk Broncos with us over there, because that's all we do here on Let's Talk Broncos. Guys, anything to end the show?
No, like, subscribe, comment.
Oh my God, Paul, before we sign off, supporting my faves, TY friends. No, Paul, thank you.
Paul,
that's
my man.
unexpected.
$40, 2 days.
That's just ridiculous. I'm looking for like something to play, but we don't really have thunder.
We need to come up with like a song that plays when we do this.
We need like a song. We need something to stand out. Paul, you have been a diehard supporter of the Let's Talk Broncos crew. We appreciate your comments over on Twitter. We appreciate you tuning in every single episode. It always lights up our eyes and mind when we see regulars jump in. But then, my Wi-Fi is going out. Somebody finish the show for me. Thank you.
Yeah, guys. Hey, like, subscribe, comment. Everybody, make sure you guys are following all for the player breakdowns and everything like that. Make sure you're following Zach's. Go back and listen. He had JP Acosta on yesterday. And Zach, before
Broncos Country tonight, don't forget to listen to that. If you missed it, it's maybe some dated material, but I'd like you guys to listen to all the hard work that we put into that. Zach, you look confused. Go ahead.
No, I just have one thing I want to add. I'm so proud of our BCT. Everyone, please go check out that Broncos Country Tonight episode. I think it's awesome. But I just wanted to shout out Monday. For our Monday show, obviously we won't be recapping a Sunday game. So we're doing a mailbag. We'll put out a tweet and everything to get your questions. But if you want to comment it on this video, that'll work too. But
are you parroting me?
No.
Yeah, she said that.
She did?
Yeah, she said that.
Oh my God.
Night, everybody.
I'm sorry.